It's always such a pleasure to be here with all of you. I look forward to this day, and since I've been here, I have been able to come and say hello and run out because we're usually extremely busy. And today is a little different. Today I'm going to be able to take some time myself to listen to the speakers and to be part of what we're all going to be learning here today. I certainly want to thank Reverend McGuire and Pastor Dale Walker and Stephen for all that they do for all of us here. You know, I love my Bible study on Tuesday mornings with these folks. It is something that I look forward to as we get together with other legislators. And it is true, we're getting a lot of downstate legislators joining our Bible study. And I will tell you yes, you can clap on that. That's terrific. And I actually haven't said it to her, but one of the senators that is now joining us, she and I probably couldn't be any further apart on many of the issues, but our hearts come together in our belief and our love for our Lord. And those bonds that you form as a legislator are very, very important for being able to move things forward and to change not only others' lives, but your own life. And so I'm just thrilled to be able to go to that Bible study on Tuesday mornings. And, you know, I've said that it's a great way to start your day, but it's a great way every day to start your day. And you may not be able to start your day with 4 or 5 others in a Christian study, but you can start your day yourself every day with the Lord. And I don't know about all of you, but when I miss that, and I have to admit that I do miss that sometimes, it's like I haven't got my agenda set. I can have my calendar with my 25 items that are on my calendar every day. But if I don't go to the Lord in the morning, my agenda's not set. Doesn't God just speak to you in the morning? Or whenever you actually do your study, and he brings things to your mind that you're not thinking about. That sick friend that you haven't called. You know, the item that you need to get for someone. And not only the things that you've done wrong, but the things that you've not done. Those omissions that you should have done. The card you need to write that you haven't done. The person you need to visit. Isn't that truly more important than any of the things that we add to our calendars? You know, as a legislature, I've been able to add my voice to a number of Christian issues, but I can't tell you how important your voice is, and that your voices are needed more than ever on vital issues such as preservation of religious liberty and defending the right to life by protecting the unborn. When I think of where our country has gone to with not protecting the unborn, I just look up and can't even understand how we can stand and talk about the most important right for a woman is the right to choose. It is to choose what God would have us to do to protect our children. That child is thank you. And I think beyond our faith that life begins at conception, science tells us that life begins at conception. And the ultrasounds that we have shows us that we have babies inside of us. And that when you abort a child after so many weeks, that child feels the pain that we're inflicting upon it for a woman's right to choose. We need your voices. We need you to stand with us. My voice is not enough. It's the voices of the legislature And as Pastor McGuire, Reverend McGuire stated, it's the hearts of our legislators that we need to change. You know, when I first started in the Bible study, it was a great Bible study, but I see it differently in the last 2.5 years than I saw it when I first walked in. You need to change the hearts in order to change the legislation. So you can talk about legislation and we can talk about changing it, but if you don't change the hearts of the legislatures and the desires of the legislatures, you can't change the legislation. And they get that. Reverend McGuire and Pastor Walker, they get that. We should all get that. So while you're here and we're talking about legislation, we do need to talk about why we believe the way we believe and why that legislation that we're promoting or that we're talking against, why are we talking against it? Why don't we like it? Or why do we want to push something? The reason is also very important. You know, we need to build a culture that respects and cherishes and supports our families. And that's something that we need to talk about as Christians. I'm really proud to have been able to stand with all of you, and I'm proud to continue standing with you as a strong voice for the values that we share. But definitely, it's you that we need to stand. You know, the Bible verse today is, choose you this day whom ye will serve. And it is a righteous summons to our time for choosing. And probably most of you in this room have already decided on whom you will serve. But the gods with small g, they face us every day. And those decisions need to be made every day. You talk about on legislative issues, you talk about the economy. The economy is very important, absolutely very important, because every dollar that we don't charge you, and from where I'm standing, you get to spend on your family. That's really important. We should care about the economy. We should care about the bills that are put in that will save, which we hope, and not trying to take one stand over another. But part of the budget is 25% by 2025, 25% more money in middle-class families. That should be important to every single one of us so that you can keep more money to spend on your family. You know, it was touched a little bit on heroin, and I want to tell you about my experience that I've had. About 1.5 years ago, I held a heroin forum at the Hudson Valley Community College at 9 o'clock on a Monday morning. And I was shocked at that time because every seat in the auditorium was full. That's 250 seats, and there were people overflowing to another area. And I swallowed hard because it was an absolute necessity for me to see how captured our society is with heroin. And 1 out of 4 people who try heroin become addicted. And our prescription pain pills add to the concern of heroin addiction. And our budget this year is trying to address heroin. But a really eye-opening experience for me occurred last week in my Bible study when Pastor Walker brought in 3 people who gave their lives to the Lord and have gotten out of heroin through their reliance on Jesus Christ. We can talk about ethics. And again, I think it's your heart. Someone said to me the other day, are you going to make ethics a front runner in your campaign this year? And I said, I'm not. No one wants corruption. It was very difficult for me to stand up and call for my own leader to step down. But that's what you do when you have to do what you think is right. But I'm not going to make corruption a cornerstone of my campaign. I'm going to make a cornerstone of my campaign on things that I've done for the people in my district, on results that I've been able to bring back to the people who vote for me. That's what people, the ethics reforms that we've looked at, you just can't put laws in if people themselves aren't ethical. They'll find a way to do things that are wrong. We have so many ethics laws now, and certainly more of disclosure, those type of things, of course. But no matter how many laws we have in ethics, if you're not an ethical, moral person, and that is a reliance on all of you when you go out and vote to try to figure out whether the person you're voting for is an ethical, honest individual. So ethics are certainly important, but the people that you elect are really, that's the cornerstone of having good people come before you. You know, a time to choose what sort of community and state and nation we will be, and not just for today, but for 10, 20, 30 years from now, for the next generation. In addition to whom we will serve, it's also a time for being strong and courageous, knowing that God is with us. You know, another passage I'd like to cite from Joshua, who was a great warrior. He says, "Have I not commanded you to be strong and courageous? Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go." We find strength and courage in the knowledge that our Lord, our God, is with us, no matter what we may face. This knowledge fortifies us. It nourishes us. Whom do we serve? As Christians, we should serve the God, big G, through Christ our Lord. And in doing so, we will find strength and courage to speak the truth and fight for the New York State and our country that we know is possible. I'd like to thank you again for your continued support and your friendship, and may God bless each and every one of you. Thank you for having me.